The Old Testament is not just a collection of thou shalls and thou shall nots. It is a collection of ancient stories based on actual events. Archaeology has therefore played a key role in the study of Christian evidences because it has confirmed the historical accuracy of the Old Testament. Archaeology has verified many ancient sites, civilizations, and biblical characters whose existence was once questioned by the academic world and often dismissed as myths. Even now, biblical archaeology continues to silence critics as new discoveries support the facts of the Bible. In this video, we'll narrow our focus to just a few of the more prominent archaeological discoveries that further supports the reliability of the Old Testament. Many skeptics have doubted the accounts in the first 5 books of the Old Testament because it was believed that writing did not exist in Moses' time, and therefore he could not have authored these books. On that notion, they dated the Torah to a much later time and did not credit Moses as the author. The discovery of the Ebla tablets has proven all of those skeptics wrong. The Ebla tablets were discovered by archaeologists in 1975 and provide solid evidence about life in the ancient world of the same era as Abraham. The Ebla tablets record laws, customs, and events and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that written language existed 1,000 years before the time of Moses. The Old Testament's record of the Hittite nation was once radically claimed by critics to be a myth, as well as infallible proof of the inaccuracy of the Old Testament. But in 1876, the first of more than 100 findings overlapping 1,200 years of Hittite history was discovered in Turkey. This was one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of all time, because of the wealth of artifacts uncovered about the Hittites since the 19th century. Not only are Hittite artifacts available in museums across the world, but you can also get a degree in Hittite history in certain universities. The Old Testament also records for us the conquest of Jericho, which occurred approximately 1440 BC. The miraculous nature of the conquest has caused some critics to dismiss the story as folklore. However, in just the last century, archaeologists have begun excavating the site. Large piles of bricks were found at the base of both the walls, indicating a sudden collapse. But more remarkable, the excavation uncovered evidence that the walls did not fall inwardly, as is usually the case when a city is captured, but were found to have fallen outwardly, and thus confirming the biblical account. In addition, a thick layer of soot was discovered at the site, indicating that the city was destroyed by fire, as described in Joshua 6 and verse 24. Archaeologists also discovered large amounts of grain at the site. This is again consistent with the biblical account that the city was captured quickly. If it had fallen as a result of a siege, the grain would have been used up. But the Israelites were forbidden to plunder the city and had to destroy it completely, according to Joshua 6 and verse 17. But finally, there may not be a greater archaeological discovery in our time than that of the Dead Sea Scrolls discovered in 1947. The caves of Qumran contained literally thousands of Hebrew scrolls, both biblical and secular, that predate the destruction of the Second Temple and the death of Jesus Christ. Once these caves were fully excavated, every single book of the Old Testament was found, with the exception of the book of Esther. Multiple copies of several biblical texts, such as Genesis, Deuteronomy, and Isaiah, were found in one cave. These biblical texts were 1,000 years older than previously known manuscripts and give credibility to the Talmudist and Masoretic copies of the 1st through 10th century AD. The most astonishing find amongst the Dead Sea Scrolls were 2 complete manuscripts of the book of Isaiah. They were found to be identical to the previous known copies. This is significant because no other Old Testament prophet predicted the life and death of Jesus Christ more than Isaiah. And the 2 scrolls discovered were dated to about 125 BC, around 155 years before Christ began his public ministry that would fulfill so many of these prophecies. Discoveries such as these leave us with no doubt regarding both the reliability and inspiration of the Old Testament scriptures. And not even a year goes by that archaeologists aren't discovering even more historical evidence that lends integrity to the Old Testament story.